let's continue what we are doing. So we talk about how call it direction. So let's continue with our session. What we are going to look on a continuation of what we are doing. We are going to look at something called type of convention. And this type of convention is what we are doing here is manually. We want to convert some of the text that we do to string. Okay, to convert to numeric, convert to boolean. Okay, but then what it does, the functions and okay, functions and operators, okay, they automatically convert whatever that we give them. So whatever that we give them, they convert it to the data type of that particular information, and they print out the result. Okay, but here we want to do what? We want to actually do the conversion ourselves. So we are going to talk about type conversion. I'm going to talk about only three of them: the string, the numeric, and the boolean. Okay, so that's what we are going to talk about it. I could do this one on the terminal, on the browser, but then I'm going to pull up my studio. As we already know, we have the HTML here, and whatever that you do, you can do it. Okay, so I'll go to this link. Then I have my browser here too. So I was testing something to see whether it works, and it did work perfectly. So now let's come to this. Okay, so now the first thing that we will talk about is, let's see how method convert, or let's see how function or operators convert something information given to them to a data type by themselves. I automatically do that. So I'll create a variable. So let's come in, let's value, okay, let's value, okay, sorry, let's value equals, let's say, true. Understand? Let's value equals true. So here we have value equals true. So when you do console.log, the last time I was doing something and I couldn't find, but I found out. So type of okay, then we give what the value. So this is how we check the value using the browser. And when we print, it's going to give us. So let me save it and then reload. Now you see that I have what boolean here. So it's telling me that the value type of this one is being set to true, and true is a boolean type. Okay, so the type of value that this one is holding is a boolean, so it's giving out a boolean here. Okay, so you let value score to true, console.log type of value. Okay, then we console the value, then we have the value here. Okay, so that's it. So this one, what it is doing, that it automatically, the function here only convert. Okay, so the console.log here automatically convert the information given to it and give us what the boolean. So let's indicate that we want to do the convention ourselves. So here you start by talking about the first one. Okay, we start by talking about the first one. So the first on the list is what? String. So let me remove this one. A string. So we'll talk about that with capital letters. Okay. So that's, in other language, we call this one a class, a function, an object rather, an object. Okay, it's an object. So Let's move on. So with the capital one, so we're going to talk about strings. So we want to explicitly convert whatever information that I have into string. Okay, so let me see. Let me try to do this one, whether I can bring my information back. So I need information again. So let me remove this one. So we are still working on what? On a string with capital. Okay, when you use small letters, it won't come. It's a case sensitive. So here I set the value here to true. Okay, then I console log that value. So when I do this, I'll get a boolean. So now I want to change this value to string. Okay, so I have to call what value, or I can give it any name. Okay, we'll talk about something, but now let's stick to the what the knowledge we know. So I'll call the string with capital letters. Okay, so string, then it takes what I'm going to put what with the input. So we call string with what, with the word string. Okay, so I'll put the value there. So I'll put the value. Now what am I doing here? What I did here is that I create a value, set it true. Then the value here, now the value hold this one. Now the value is holding a string. Okay, so the value equal to string value equals string value. So the string is a parameter, it takes whatever information here. Okay, so it takes information. The information I'm giving it what, a string. You understand? So now it's going to tell me when I do console log, it's going to tell me now. Let's see what this one is going to tell us. Now it's telling us this is what, it's a string. So now the value here, the true here, is no longer a boolean, but it's rather what? It's rather a string. So here what we have done here explicitly, we have what? Convert so this one to a string. Okay. So we have convert this one to a string. Yeah, so you remember I said I didn't terminate this one. It doesn't matter, but then learn how to do it in other languages. It's very important. So we have, so that's what a string what does. Okay, so now let's practice something here a little bit, and then you do your other way around. So let me say, let's what, name. Okay, then the name here I will set it to, I should have moved something, but don't worry. Let me clear this one. So name is got to, so let's say boy. You understand? So this, when I do console log, guess what was going to happen here? And then type of, then I do name. Guess what is going to happen here? When I save and do, it's going to give me a string. Okay, because based on this one is called a string. So here is a string. But when you want to call a string, rather we use the word here, string. Okay, but here is typically a string. So the value, what it did here, it converted what, the whole thing to a string, to a data type. So you know this is a string with a quote here. So if you want to call a string physically, you have to call what, you use a string word to call it. So you use a string here to do the work. Okay, so now let's see something here. So now let's look. So let me call that name. I'm going to cheat a little bit, the name, or I can assign it to any value. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't want to reuse the name again. So let's say value equals, so here let me cheat a little bit and do something here. Okay, so let's say value equal, let's call a string here, string, and we send what name to the string. Now when I save this one, it's going to lose giving me string because this is a string rather. So that's the meaning of what is happening here. Okay, so that is the meaning of the string that is happening here. So then let's on the line we talk about private numeric. Okay, to convert something specifically to numeric. So let's do that. Let's do the automatic way. Okay, so numeric. Okay, so let's do let's okay, num1 equals to, let's say, 25. Then you say let's same let's. So let me leave this one way. Then console, just do this one and see console.log. Now let's look at type of num1. Now it's giving us a number. So it's telling us what the remote is. So the type of data that this one is holding is a number. So it does this one what automatically. That's what it does here. So it's giving us that this is a number. Okay, this one it does it automatically. But if we want to do explicitly, then we go this one. We have to use what the function called what the numeric function. Okay. So let me cheat a little bit. So let's come here. I want you to understand. So let's okay. So I'm going to stay just a name for string. Okay. And the same 25 that I use. So 25. So you have to know how to read the language. So this one, even if I have not finishing typing, bringing the answer, I know definitely what I'm going to get here is a string. Okay, because of the code. So now I come here, console.log star type of, then names star rather. Okay, now when I save this one, it's going to give me a string. So you see what is happening here? It's going to give me a string here. So now let me maintain this what I've done here. So in case that I don't want to do that, I want to change this number, this string here into a number. So I'll do that by let me declare another variable. So let's say let's. So yeah, num. Here I don't want it. The what I'm doing, I don't want the data to get lost. Okay. So num. So I will call explicitly the number itself with capital letter. Okay. So number. Then I'm gonna give it something function here. So I'm going to call the star. You understand? Then I'll hide this one. So console.log. I'm going to console.log. And when I do type of, okay, when I call a star, the type of what am I going to call here? I'm going to call, because the whole of this has been stored to num. Okay, so I'm going to num rather. When I save, I have to have a number. So here it was declared as what a string. Then I use a number to convert this one to convert a string into number by calling the number with capital letter as the string capital letter. Okay, so the star to num is when I do console of num and it's giving what a number here. So this is how we do explicitly if you want to convert the number yourself. Okay. So now let's look at one thing again with the same string. With the same numeric. Now in the case that you want to convert a whole bunch of strings into number, you are going to get an error. Okay, the program won't crash, but it's going to give you a statement. So let's say let's age, so equals, and now it's basically called the numbers here, but it takes a parameter. So I'm going to insert into what, a string. How old are you? Forgive me, my browser is a little bit, let me, so we can see what we have typed. So how old are you? Okay, let's put this one a little bit, because we don't need, it's just a console that will give us whatever we need. So let's, how old are you? What are we doing here? Here we are converting a whole bunch of string into number, and this one is going to give us what, an error. So console.log age. Okay, and come here, let me do this one, console.log. So save. Now you see that it's giving me something. Now I mean it's an error. And the reason being is that string is not a valid number. Okay, so the result of this conversion give what now, or instead. So if you want to do so string, so you do the other way around and you convert that number to a string. I can convert, there's a whole bunch of strings okay, to number. I want to get an error, so that's what it is. So now let's talk about one thing here. Let's talk about the Boolean conversion. Okay, the Boolean conversion, and let's see what it does too. So we come back here, Boolean, right? So we already seen Boolean, but let me do it again. Boolean. So let me create let's, so value, okay, let is okay, boss equals true. So here, as we always does, we do the automatic one first, then we check the one that we do it on ourselves. Okay, so console.log type of is boss. Okay, now when I save and run this one, give me a boolean, because this boss is what is containing what, a boolean. And this one I can change it and make it false. When I save, it's also give me a boolean. So booleans have two ways, depending on how you do it. Now this one, it automatically converts the data type and store that data type into the SBOS. Okay, so let's assume that we want to do the boolean ourselves. Okay, now there's something that we have to know here. Let me try to do this one and see. So let's go this way. Okay, I'm done. So when you read the documentation, you get a lot more on it. So let me come here. So let's start. Let's do you want to convert something to a boolean. I won't say I, okay. So you call the boolean. If you want to do that, you call the boolean here with a value. Okay. So let's do this. So first, let me say let me look at something. So let's okay. So let's name. Yeah, let's go that way. Name. Let's do this one. Boy. Okay. Let's end it. Now I'm going to store the boy. So let me do something here. This is just a name because then I'm going to call the boolean. I'm going to call the bool. So it takes a value. The value there is what? So let me try giving the value here. Name. Okay. Now let's do console dot log, and then let's look at the type of. So bool. Now it's give me a boolean. Okay. So it's giving me a boolean. So now the string here has been converted to a boolean. Okay. So you call the boolean sign with a name, and then this one is stored here. So it's a boolean. Okay. Now there's something about boolean that we have to do. Let me show you a little bit. So let's say console dot log. Okay. So I'm going to call boolean. Then I'm going to put a value here, 1. And guess what is going to happen here? It's going to be pointing true. Okay. Because 1 is true. Okay. But when I do the same thing and I put 0 here, and I say it's going to be false. So 0 is false. Okay. Now let me do the same thing here and put this code and save. It's going to give me false because it doesn't contain anything. So now let me put h into it. It's going to print true. So it's just ideology. Okay. 1 0 mean nothing. 1. So that's what boolean is all about. Okay. So that's what a boolean is about. So that's it. So you read more on it and you get a solid function on it. So thank you once again, and that's it for conversion type. So I'm going to do a flow here. Okay.